Hi, I'm Richard Randall, and welcome to The Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. This is the weekly radio show that informs and it educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with the Springs Real Estate Authority. That's Barb Schlinker. Barb Schlinker is a retired Navy veteran. Barb is an author. Barb's a pilot as well. And she and her team enjoy all that the Springs has to offer. Barb, always great to be talking with you. Now, we air the Real Estate Voice show every Saturday. And if you can't listen to the entire show, it's available on Barb's site, barbhasthebuyers.com, or just go ahead and search Barb Schlinker, Schlinker, on most of the popular podcast platforms like IHeart Radio and the rest. Every week, the Real Estate Voice covers great information about the housing market and one, if not the most largest asset that you have, and that's your home. Barb, what are we going to be covering today?
Well, the first topic, we're just going to kind of highlight what's going on in the housing market right now. We definitely have seen a price correction since it peaked out in April. And somebody from one of these big box brokerages coined the phrase, the tornado housing market, which I think is interesting, meaning some houses are getting taken out with the market and getting sold and others are getting passed by. And so we'll go over that and talk about what's going on in this market. And then the next topic we're going to cover is the 11 home inspection traps you should know weeks before putting your home up for sale. So the reason I want to talk about that is it's kind of the bane of my existence. I help mostly sellers. And just some of the stuff that goes on in inspections is unbelievable. These inspectors break things sometimes. They're rude, they're intrusive, and some of them, not all of them, and they are very demanding. And it's like, whoa, stop. You're here as a courtesy. You can inspect the home, but you don't get to run the show. And you certainly should not be damaging these properties. And then the third topic is how to price a home to sell. Very, very, very important right now. With the interest rates rising, it means that the buyers, if they're getting a loan, it makes the house payments less affordable, which means the buyers can afford less house. So pricing a home is absolutely crucial in getting top dollar for your home. You don't want to overprice and let it sit on the market for weeks and weeks and weeks. It doesn't work. You want to make sure it's priced right. And we're going to talk about that. And then the fourth topic is the top mistakes to avoid when selling your home. And as always, I love covering the hot new listings. Richard?
I love the hot new listings as well. Every week, it seems like there are two or three that I'm looking at saying, dang, that looks like, and the prices sometimes as well. Barb, it seems like a short time ago, we were talking about lots of bidding wars on homes, buyers struggling to get their offers accepted. Now, along with interest rates rising, it appears that homes are taking a little bit longer to sell. So what should people thinking of making a move know in this current real estate market and the environment that we're in right now?
Right. Well, thanks to the Fed, basically what Jerome Powell promised to do is he's going to keep raising interest rates until inflation goes down to 2%. Now, I don't know when that's going to be. Do you, Richard? Do you have any idea?
I don't, and I'm not a big economic expert, but that rigid mentality kind of concerns me.
It's very concerning because it hurts the real estate market for sure. So I'm hearing people tell me at the open house we had last weekend, I had one young family tell me they're facing an interest rate that's well over 7%. So even though they loved the home that they were looking at right then, it was a little out of their budget. So he was asking me if I had any lower priced homes to go look at. And that home that he was looking at was priced at $375, which is on the low end. Just a few months ago, you couldn't find anything worth living in under $400,000. And now things are changing. So we don't know where this is going. We do know that since probably February, the mortgage interest rates have more than doubled. They corrected a little bit, and now they're going back up again. And as far as I could tell, it's had very little effect on inflation, But it does affect the buyer's buying power. So there's a lot more homes sitting on the market than there were just a few months ago when we had that really uncommon boom for about a year and a half. But if you actually put this in perspective, for the people that have been around for a while like me, the average interest rate, if you go back across 50 years, which I haven't been in real estate for 50 years, but if you go back 50 years, the average mortgage interest rate was actually at 7.15%, which we're pretty close to that right now from what I'm hearing. So, and I remember when I first got my license, probably about a year after we bought our first house in Colorado Springs, the rates were hovering in the upper 8s or 9s, and we got an adjustable rate mortgage. And then a year or two later, I got my license, and I remember the broker just doing the happy dance at one of our meetings, talking about, oh my gosh, interest rates are down to 7%. That's the lowest we've seen in forever. And this is going to be so good. So the problem is the bulk of the buyers are the millennial generation, right? They're either Gen X or millennials. So they only know interest rates between 3 and 5%. So this all seems very expensive. The other thing that piles on for them, for the first-time home buyer, is actually in the past couple of years, we've had a huge increase in home values. The average prices went up by double digits for 4 years in a row. Now, that's not common for this market. And so they're getting kind of a double whammy of higher interest rates and higher prices. And then you pile on higher rent. It's very, very expensive to invest in a home right now. As of yesterday, when I checked, the number of total available properties is just over 2,500, and the number of available single-family homes is 2,300. So what does that mean? To put that in perspective, if you go back to just after the mortgage meltdown, back then we had 4,000 to 5,000 homes on the market that weren't selling, and if you kind of average those numbers out, and just kind of discount the boom period, probably a normal market where it's a balance between buyers and sellers would have more inventory than we have right now. It'd probably be closer to 3,000 homes on the market, not 2,300. But the dilemma is home sellers, when they decide to put their house on the market, they're looking backwards at homes that have sold just a few months ago when the prices peaked in April, and saying, my home is worth that much. They try to get that much on the market. It's not working, and their home is sitting on the market for a long time. So week after week, in the past probably 6 weeks, we've seen about 23 to 25% of the home sellers lower their price. Only in the past week, 23% lowered their price. In the past week, only 15.8% of the sellers got contracts, and only 13% sold. Okay, that's a really low number of getting to the finish line. So the market definitely has shifted, and the best thing that you could do right now if you need to sell is to make sure that you price your home correctly. The average price has actually dropped since April, $38,790 in just a few months. Can you believe that, Richard?
That is amazing. I mean, if you would have told me that that was going to happen, I would have said, well, maybe that could happen, but not as quickly as it has.
Right. I mean, normally we'd see a flattening like we did after 9/11, like we did after the mortgage meltdown started. Our market went flat for a year before the prices started dropping. This was a sudden U-turn. But if you look back and compare the prices to a year ago, the home prices have actually gone up over 5%. So it's okay. It's not a terrible market. You just need somebody to help you price it right. And so this one, I think is a broker of one of the big box brokerages, coined the phrase, right now we're in a tornado housing market. I love that term. What do you think of it, Richard?
I love it. I mean, I grew up in tornado country, so I'm not crazy about tornadoes, but boy, that catches your attention. The problem is I don't really know what it means.
Well, it means that if you look at the metaphor of a tornado touches down and basically obliterates one house while two houses next door are untouched. That's what we're
Whoa.
seeing when it relates to sales in the market. Like I was pretty surprised a few weeks ago when one of my listings that I thought might be a little bit high priced had multiple offers and sold for over asking price. And that was a $700,000 price point. So it's really interesting to see what's going on. And some homes are flying off the market and others are not, right? So if a home seller does not have bad marketing, and the reason why I put that caveat there is that bad marketing can make the difference between getting top dollar or not getting a sale or getting very tepid in prices. Like this morning, I was going over with my team, we were covering how we figure out pricing. And I found this home in that neighborhood that it was awful. I'm going to pull the pictures and use it in some of my marketing. It was so bad. I mean, every piece of counter space was covered in junk. The whole table was covered in junk. It was just a mess. Okay.
It sounds like my study, but it's a what not to do when you look at that photo.
Exactly. And that's how the agent decided to approach it from a marketing perspective. And the seller paid the price. The home sold for probably, I would say, at least 40 or 50,000 below what it should have. So if you don't have a marketing issue, then it's probably price. And marketing is about creating demand, and pricing is a part of marketing. So that decision for a home seller is absolutely key. But there are three basic things that you have to get right, especially in this market. Preparation, make sure your home is prepared to go on the market, pricing it right, and hiring the right agent that will make you make sure that your home is promoted appropriately. And it's a challenge, but you really want to focus on these rooms. Curb appeal, which is a room, because we know the buyers drive by, flooring, paint, kitchens, baths, and make sure it's clean. And of course, pricing's huge. And your online marketing has to be top notch, because years ago, when all the pictures for homes were either not online or they weren't a good enough quality that a buyer could get a good feel for the home based on the online pictures, which really wasn't that long ago. I think the imagery is really improved in probably the past 5 years, maybe. Back then, most of the decisions were made from buyers by them going and walking through houses and picking the right one. But now 80% of the decisions are made based on the pictures online. That's why marketing is so critical. It used to be a buyer would physically go into 40 homes. Now a buyer is only physically going into 8 homes. So you want to make sure that you hire the agent that knows exactly how to promote the home to create the most demand. And you can do that by giving us a call and find out what we can do. We actually will give you an idea what your home will sell for, share with you what we do to get top dollar for our sellers. Give us a call at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to The Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Barb is the real estate voice. And if you're thinking of making a move, call Barb at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. Easy to remember, barbhasthebuyers.com. A short break. When we come back, we'll be discussing 11 home inspection traps you should know weeks before putting your home up for sale. You don't want to miss that. Stay tuned.